Black Sprinter, windows on max tenor, mad sinner, sweating like it's past winter. No witness, offshore tax printer. Try following the money, but the bag quicker. If he a rat killer, bodies in vast rivers. The strap widower for blood more than Dracula. Counter wind ass spinners, pack flipper. That's the block jack ripper, body bag zipper. Trash bucket.
Let me just get right into it. We got
do.
Adrenaline Junkie.
Yup.
Been on X Games.
Yup.
Crushing it. America's Got Talent finalist. Nitro Circus. First paraplegic to land a backflip on a dirt bike. Okay? First person to attempt a double front flip. I mean, the list is endless, but let's just say we got no one other than Bruce Cook is in the building tonight. Bruce, thank you for being here.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, man. Our pleasure. Our pleasure.
Am I your best guest so far?
So far, you're doing pretty good.
Nice.
Close second.
Right up there.
Yeah. Right on top.
Top three, anyway.
Top three.
Yeah.
Top three.
Yeah.
We'll give you a rating like episode 10 or something like that.
We'll let you know how we finish up here.
But thank you, and thank you for being here. And, I mean, let's get right into it.
Well, first of all, my guy braved a blizzard to get here, man. So I wanted to thank you for going. Like, I seen you pull up in the big wheels.
Yeah.
And I don't even know how you would have got here without that thing. That thing was,
Yeah, don't have winters on the chair, but that gets around at least.
Yeah, that's some all seasons out there, huh? Yeah, for sure.
So where are you from? What made you get into doing what you do?
Born and raised in Kelowna, and I think, I knew that I liked action sports and just whatever, adrenaline since very young, before I even knew what that was. I think 5 years old, my parents got a little 50cc dirt bike just to kind of like get around the farm, go check sprinklers, that type of thing. Pretty quickly, I kind of took that over.
I saw that in that little documentary.
The Moco.
Exactly, yeah. Moco. Yeah, so before that was the little trike that I had, and just, couldn't get peeled off of those. And then my parents had 60 acres, still do, kind of outside of town. So, just built jumps, and it was, the rest is history.
Your parents seem very cool.
Yo, I was about to say that, man. Like, bless your parents.
Yeah, I put them through it for, the last 30 years. So
still going. That's the way you got to do it. You
been a long road
put
for
your
them.
Parents through shit.
Well, I was going to say, I don't have siblings, but your siblings must be in some ways. They're like, hey, you put parents through it. They can't do nothing but look like stars in some sense. They're like, but hey, I didn't put you through that though, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Now 2 sisters, and they're
super supportive though. Huh?
Totally. Yeah. But compared to me, they're pretty smooth sailing. So, yeah.
Yo, I was gonna say. So I mean, as we start to talk about, if anyone who's watching this, you guys don't even know what we're talking about, you educate yourselves because we're gonna get into it. But my man's done some amazing things here. And I think we can say, it's about the 10-year anniversary of the situation in question. 10 years in, how do you feel when you're looking back 10 years later? Like, you've come so far. That's a whole decade, right?
Yeah, it's crazy, like, to think it's been 10 years. So, been 10 years since January 3rd, 2014. I was set to attempt the world's first double front flip on a dirt bike in a Nitro Circus show. And
in Hamilton, right?
In Hamilton, yeah. And basically, the thing about front flips is you're actually doing more than a single rotation for one flip, and so on for 2. So I actually technically did perfect 2, but that was under rotated, so landed basically on the back wheel, slid off the back, and essentially folded in half backwards. So landed on one of my boots, I think it was my right boot, went behind my back and smashed my T11 vertebrae. So, just knew instantly that I'd broken my back. Just get hot, liquid-like feeling going down, and you're just like, holy shit, this is happening to me. And you just kind of, it's everyone's worst nightmare. And, freestyle motocross, it's like the 2 things on your mind are breaking your back, breaking your neck. Well, that's 3. I ride dirt bikes, not math. Yeah. But breaking your back, breaking your neck, and dying, obviously. But those are things that are, they're in the back of your mind, but very removed. And it's like, even still, I was just actually a couple days ago just driving, and it's like, whoa, like I'm in a wheelchair. Like, it's still like crazy to think, because like it's just weird, and that's been 10 years, whatever that was, a couple weeks ago.
Yeah,
So,
that's crazy. That 10-year anniversary of that. But
Yeah.
we're so. You said you were feeling like you could actually feel all these things. You were still conscious.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
and
yeah,
fully
100%.
aware of your situation and that particular moment.
Yeah, I was didn't get knocked out, probably, unfortunately.
Whoa, like
I just like I don't know if you've seen the video,
I
but
have.
like I was still sliding when I was just like slapping my legs,
I seen that. Is that like
just
come get me?
trying to feel my legs.
Okay,
Oh.
I didn't know if that was like a signal. To,
No,
like,
it's
That's
just
what I
like
thought.
trying to make pain, like,
yeah.
and couldn't feel anything. Like, so that's why I was just like hitting harder and harder because you just
Oh.
want to feel something.
Yeah.
And that's in the first like 2 seconds.
Yeah,
So it's
100%.
like just
That was-
instantly new, and it's your world changes.
So I think
Yeah, I had a couple.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because that's kind of crazy,
the segue is perfect for what you're gonna ask.
Yeah, there was a couple things, and I mean, it was kind of crazy because, well, first of all, 10 years on, one of the things I'm wondering about you, because I have like a chronic pain from a situation, nothing like that. But every year on the anniversary, I swear it's like my body remembers the trauma. I don't know how. It's like certain spots just hurt, where I got injured. And I'm wondering, do you like every year at this time, does your body remind you? Do you have this like lingering trauma that spikes every year? Or?
have one of the worst parts is pain, chronic pain.
Yeah.
It's phantom pain, I guess. I've been to so many specialists and they can't figure it out, but it's from injury down is just like burning sensation. So it's like the best way I can explain it is just like picture sitting in a campfire, and it's like it's weird because obviously I can't feel anything, like zero. You could you could stab myself in the leg and I wouldn't feel it, but
you can feel
certain spots like on my butt, my feet, and then like kind of my thighs especially just burn. And it's better and worse for sure, but some people get affected, random things, which I'm sure is a mental thing. Like there's so much is mental.
Yeah, there's so much.
Some people get affected by the weather, like all that stuff. Mine kind of
not so much
ups and downs all over the place, but it's that's definitely one of the hardest parts because it's so debilitating, like especially on a bad day when it's just throbbing. It's all you can think about, and it's frustrating because am such a mental person,
Right.
And the fact that it's not real pain, quote unquote, is it is one thing. If you broke your arm, that's why it's hurting.
Yeah.
Like I can get over this
course.
type thing, but there's some signal between my spinal cord and my brain that's continually telling it
turn
something's wrong, and it's like, it's not real. It's like an amputee losing their leg, and then they're complaining about foot pain or
Right.
something. Like
That's the phantom.
That's the phantom.
pain.
Yeah, that's phantom pain, and so obviously still have my limbs, but it's just a signal that's mixed up. So you're like, you want to so bad be like mind over matter, but it's or you're just like, can't they go in there and find the nerve or whatever it is that's doing it? But it's 10 years and I'm still trying to figure it out.
So is that something that will go away over time, the doctors say, or is it just something that will continually happen, the phantom pain?
They don't know.
Right.
But it's like I'm still on painkillers, which is brutal because they come with their own side effects. And I've been to so many doctors, and like the one I think just went last year, specialist in town, and he's like, "What are you taking of this?" And he's like, "Oh, well, how much have you increased since your accident?" And I'm like, "Nothing." And he's like, "Well, that's incredible." I'm like, no, I've told myself because like
'Cause
I'm not going to go down that slope. Like, obviously in action sports, so many guys, it's a slippery slope.
They're losing a different battle
with the hard meds. And so I was like, no, that's a mental choice to not increase my dose. Cause like there's days that I want to increase that dose, but it's nothing so far.
That was actually, you just hit on, and that was one of the questions I had for you, especially in this, I guess, landscape we're in, and you can see obviously how many people have issues with opioid and painkillers, and to see someone like yourself then who, I need this, but yet you set yourself these boundaries and this sense of discipline and responsibility. And not only is that inspiring to me, but sometimes it's tough. I don't want to be an asshole to people sometimes, but as someone who's been through a few surgeries and had to use painkillers myself, and I see people outside, I'm like, yo, guys, like, this is a choice you're making. And as much as I have a lot of empathy, I also know people like yourself who don't have a choice and are able to control it. So like,
well, and that's the problem I think with a lot of people on the streets. Like they did, that was the start, was like these pain meds, and it's like, who knows though, like maybe if at the same time as the accident I had a family member or friend that passed away, like that might have been that
triggered
little
you
thing
to go
that,
further.
it's like, yeah, it is mental, but like at the same time I'm like, what if there was one more little thing and you're like, ooh, taking 2 or 3, you know, the times the amount feels good, it numbs that, and it's like, yeah, it's, you can definitely see it's but at the same time, like I've never had a problem with a doctor prescribing anything I want, and it's like, that's nuts. It's just like, even if I wasn't in pain, I could be like, I'm in pain. What do you need? This makes it feel good. Oh,
that's
here you
big
go.
pharma
It's
at
like,
work right there.
yeah. And it's, I don't know. I mean, thankfully with marijuana and stuff being legalized, unfortunately it doesn't work for me.
Do you smoke?
I just get tired. No, I just turn useless.
Yeah.
So, but like that was actually the first time I tried. I don't even remember what I tried, but hadn't smoked any weed, no drugs up until after my accident, which whatever that was, like 2 years later, when I was just like, all right, need to try something. So before it was legalized, went and got whatever you need to get, blah, blah, and tried out some things, and I just fell asleep. So I'm like, well, I can't do this. And another thing, like touring with Nitro all over the world, I needed something that I can fly with anywhere in the world. So
legal.
It's, so you're stuck right there because you can't cross the border.
True.
So.
Yeah, you can't always use the gummy candy trick. You know what I mean? Works for me a few times. But
well, and I'd prefer, like, because it's, natural and better than these things that are cooked up in a factory somewhere. But
so do you have, I know you take medication, obviously, but you're saying you've never allowed yourself to get past that threshold of maybe teetering on some, dangerous areas.
Yeah.
Do you have some kind of, I guess a mechanism or a way of why you reason that way? How do you have that discipline built in you? I mean, I'm inspired by it because
I don't know. Like I said, like I haven't done any drugs. A lot of it was just not wanting to know like how good it feels or whatever. Cause obviously my personality if I go for something, I go full in. Yeah. So it's it's a scary thought. And with this, I don't know. It's just been very like, I am taking this for a reason. Like and it doesn't get rid of the pain. Like we're talking takes off maybe
it just takes
20% or something, 100%. Like takes the edge off. Yeah. So, and I think a lot of it is like knowing if I took twice the amount or something, it's still not going to fix it. It's it's just going to, and I don't know, like, am I addicted right now? Probably, like in a clinical sense, because I'm dependent on it. So depending how you define it, I know that if I don't take it for an hour or two, like too long, then the pain is unbearable. Like I'm just like, yawning like crazy. And it's like, so then you're like, what part is that? Like not having it compared to the original. And
what's worse then?
That's what I'm trying to figure out with a doctor, because you also can't just cold turkey.
No, of course not.
Regardless if you're addicted or not, because that has its own set of problems.
That's crazy, man.
But just recently we've found this clinic doctor, whatever, trying this new stuff down in Seattle. So hopefully going to go try to see what he's got to offer. But I've done patches and shots and acupuncture, like just everything. And it's like someone shoots me an Instagram message, or like family's like looking it up, try it. And often it's not, but
makes me curious, and, when I watch this stuff, I like to think like in some ways I got a good pain tolerance, whatever. But I seen, you is your childhood friend was a Tom. You guys are messing around. Right. So I see you guys doing your thing and jumping and all this, and I was like, is he born with this, like, it doesn't hurt? Or is it just like, did you just charge it to the game? You're just like, you know what, pain comes with what I want to do, so I'm going to deal with it? Or do you felt that you just handled it differently than other people? Or was that how you handled it differently?
Probably a little bit of both. I mean, no one wants to be in pain, but I think you just want the outcome or the success of what you're trying to do more than you care about the pain. So, it's always like, pretty much like going through school, it was like first week or two of summer, you could bank on like a broken wrist or a leg, and it was just like,
You're just that guy.
yeah, and it's just because
Oh, man,
you're just like, oh, you're riding a lot, it happens, and it's just like, all right, this is 6 weeks, and like the first question's always, how fast can I get back on the bike? And
yeah.
like, I don't know, it was yeah, I think like you said, you just know it's something that's going to happen.
That's mindset. You've been just
yeah,
locked in like that.
It comes with the sport, like you
Charge it to the game, right?
It's not if you're gonna get hurt, it's when. So,
Right.
yeah, you can
See, me, I grew up in the Kootenays. All my friends had a little dirt bike. Come on, mama, and they're teasing me. Why don't you have one? I'm like, and you know, back then you're not going to be like, I'm scared. I literally was afraid. I was like, I don't think I should be on a motorbike. I guess, call me soft, whatever, but I was scared. Like I really was. I didn't, you know. So it's a mind over matter thing, I guess.
I'm the same way. Water slides are fast enough for me, man.
I'm
good.
Which is fine, because the last thing you want to do is be scared. Like
Right.
it's like nerves are good. Being scared is not.
It's different,
like
right?
that's what, like, even in shows, you'll have one of the guys that's just like, you know, you notice in warm up he's just like not hitting it right away and like going past, and you're just like, just don't, like,
Right.
you're just not feeling it today. And like, are you like nervous, like butterflies, or are you scared? And if they're like, I'm scared, and it's like, just don't.
That's
like, you're
different.
going to mess it up. So
Does that change from day to day? Like when you're doing the jumps, like
Oh,
some days
yeah.
you're just not on.
some days, you're just like killing it. You just go out and do it. You're like, this is nothing. And then the next day you show up and look at the ramp and you're like, oh, I got to go from there to there. Like, that's nuts. So, yeah.
Is there any kind of pregame preparation you do mentally before you go? Like, I don't know,
Rituals?
like meditate
Yeah,
or
yeah,
something?
you gotta-
Not me. And like, I think like that's probably my ritual, is not having a ritual. Because like there's some guys who like always put their right sock on first before this. And like, I just think, like, I just always told myself from like when I very first thought about that when I was super young, I'm like, I don't want to be counting on superstition
Right.
to go and do this well. I want to be skilled enough to go do this well.
Yeah.
And I guess it didn't pay off. Maybe I should have put my right sock on before my left. Turns out there's something to it.
I was about to actually ask you that. Like that
Bruce
day,
also does comedy. On
what does he not? I was gonna say. So that day, did you ever feel? Like, did you feel something that day? Like, did you feel in hindsight? Were you like, yo, something told me that?
It's hard to say, because like you're going and doing something that's never been done before.
Yeah. So everything
and
was brand new.
So
Yeah.
you're feeling super nervous. But at that time too, like I'd been beating myself up into the foam pit for so long. There was so much of me that was just like, thankfully this day's here. Like I can just get this over with. Like, because you're just stressing,
Pressure
going up
for
to
weeks,
it.
months,
Yeah.
probably.
Yeah. So yeah, a whole bunch of things. It's who knows.
Just
Yeah.
unpacking that.
Don't know
itself.
what I was
Yeah,
feeling.
yeah, yeah. Oh,
Is
that's
it normally from the foam pit to the crowd? There's no in between. You try and do the land prior.
Well, today's a lot different because I'm part of the reason that they started using the airbag landers and stuff a lot more, and like even the flat bags. So a lot of guys aren't even using foam pits anymore because they got the big flat airbags and stuff. So yeah, in that era, kind of in the first, was if you were lucky enough to have a foam pit or be able to use a foam pit, you'd do that and then build up like a big mulch pile. And so like you'd land on that and then put some dirt on the mulch pile. So it's like you kind of build yourself up. But with the double front, I was just as likely to hurt myself. Like you're like 45 feet in the air. So even if you're falling to mulch, you can still break your back.
Of course.
So it's like, if I'm going to do this,
do it in front of the crowd.
Doing it 2 months before,
Yeah.
like, which is the amount of time you'd need if you hurt yourself and like broke a leg, like it's just not worth it, because then that's already 2 months away. You'd forget the feeling and everything. So it's like a couple days before, did some into the pit.
That's
and then,
I didn't know that. That's crazy.
yeah.
That's what I was wondering too when I saw it. I was like, did he go? That was a great question. I was like, did he go from that and it was then straight to doing it in the big show?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're like outside. I'm over in Maryland. It's like no one around. It's you and a couple buddies doing it, and then you're just like straight into the arena with, you know, pyro and lights and like everything,
And fans screaming and all that.
rafters
Like,
that
crazy.
you're like right beside. So yeah,
Wild.
Yeah.
Just wild. I mean,
Insane.
I don't
Insane.
even ride a motorcycle. You know what I mean? Like, I can't even touch that stuff. Like, I'm actually kind of, I don't want to say scared,
You're scared.
You know what I am? I'm scared of other people on the road. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Like motorcycles.
That's what
and that
scared
stuff.
people say.
Yeah, I just don't want to.
That's what scared
I
people
just
say.
think
I'm scared of
motorcycles are
others.
dumb.
Sure, bud.
Oh, I'm not smart enough for them. You know what I mean? It just takes a little bit much. But so is there, other than motocross, was there any other sports when you were growing up that was it all motocross? Were you like, this is my thing and this is all I'm doing?
No,
Or?
I played soccer.
Yeah.
And then dirt bikes, which are very opposite ends of the scale. So, and then it was kind of funny. I don't know what age I was, probably like 12 or something, when the coach was just like, listen, like, you're missing practices and stuff because you're going to ride.
Like
blah,
your
blah.
soccer coach, me.
Yeah.
You get to
And he's
choose,
like,
huh?
you got to pick one.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, bad news, coach. See ya. So
Bad news, Mom. Instead
Yeah,
of cleats
yeah,
and
exactly.
shin pads, it's
Yeah.
motorcycle.
Yeah.
I'm busy becoming a legend over here.
exactly.
they probably would have preferred, but yeah.
Okay.
Because that mind frame would be transferable. I could just imagine you snowboarding or skateboarding,
Yeah.
like with that mind frame.
Yeah, well, and I did I went snowboarding, mountain biking, BMX. Was never great at skateboarding, but I kind of did them all. But especially when it comes to like snowboarding, dirt bikes, because I was, for the most part, paying my own way. So if you snowboard and you dirt bike at the same time, that's
Snowboard, yeah, those expensive.
that's a
for
big
sure.
budget. So
Yeah.
it's kind of narrowed it down to one. And passion. Like, it's just, if you're going to do something that risky, you better be passionate about it, because things like this can happen.
Of course.
Well, when I see this and I like watch and I listen, like the documentaries and the interviews, and one of the things that's brought up, is often this like sense of discipline and how, like you said, you can set your own boundaries. Did you inherit that from somebody? Is that something that you can attribute to, a member of your family? Is it someone you looked up to? You got that from? Combination of all? Like, where did you get this to embody? Because I can see it's carried you through so much, right?
Yeah, and I'm like honestly grateful for that. Is so much is just your upbringing, and that's just luck of the draw, who you get to raise you and where you're born. But my documentary is called Never Say Can't, which is
check that out if you haven't seen that. I was crying, dog. I'm not gonna lie. My mom called me. She was like, "Yo, I'm watching this documentary," and it's just like teary eyes.
Yeah.
My lady was watching it right next to me. I don't know who was, consoling who the most, but
Thanks for making us cry, Bruce.
yeah, thanks, Bruce. You know what I
That was really
mean?
powerful.
must have been onions. In the room.
Oh man, it was onions, buddy. Trust
Yeah.
me. But it was really emotional. But when I was watching that, like I said, that's what kept resonating with me. I was like, where did this get instilled from? Because I know some people, you just wake up with things in the morning.
Yeah.
But like you said, it's the luck of the draw, who you're born to, I guess.
Yeah, and
But
that
you
was
also kept your circle of friends too so tight.
for sure.
Yeah.
But the main influence was my dad, and then his dad.
Okay.
Which, growing up, like, they didn't allow us to say can't. Like, obviously, in certain scenarios, but he'd be like, "Oh, can you go, whatever, do some farm chore?" And it's like, "Oh, I can't carry this hay bale." Like, well, you can. Like, you just need to figure out a way, or like get someone to help, or use the wheelbarrow.
You haven't tried
so
yet.
It's like exactly.
Yeah.
So, and it's funny because that's come down to me. Like, when people say I can't, like, it just drives me nuts.
Yeah.
It's like, you haven't even tried. So, like, try it first, and then still don't even say can't.
Yeah.
Tell me how you could do it. Like, even if you have to get help or try something else. But so that's definitely from them.
I'm taking notes right now. I have 3 kids. They might be past that age of like instilling that, but that's a great move.
Man,
Never
this guy
too late.
can't
Sure.
even take notes.
Can't.
All right.
Sorry.
How about that death by karage? How are you handling that there?
Yeah, I could. I choose not to.
There you go.
There we go. Amazing.
This is kind of, I'm just going,
Left field, yeah.
I'm going left field here. Not super left field, but tell me about your time on America's Got Talent.
Yeah, that was random. It was like 2 weeks before, I think, and so it actually went through Nitro Circus. So I think
Because it was a extreme.
America's Got Talent Extreme, and so
Okay.
I think they probably realized how few people do extreme sports in the world.
Right.
So they reached out to Nitro, obviously, and then they wanted myself and then a couple other guys from Nitro. So just asked me if I wanted to do it, and sure. But at that point, I can't remember the date, but that was kind of as we were coming out of COVID, I guess.
2022.
2022, I thought, or something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
So obviously touring with Nitro had stopped with COVID because you're jamming people into a stadium.
Yeah.
But so I hadn't seen my bike ridden at all in 2 years.
Oh, wow.
So Nitro warehouse is down in California. AGT was in Atlanta.
Right.
So I flew to Atlanta. They trucked the bike and ramps over. And that was my first flip in 2 years at that show.
Wow.
And first time to an inflatable lander, which you'd think could be good. But for myself, sitting down, you can't absorb the bounce. And so we didn't know what it was going to do. So, yeah, it was pretty stressful. I just don't think that AGT knew what they were in for. So it was actually took place at the Atlanta Motor Speedway, which is insane, like for NASCAR and stuff, like just massive. So it was inside as well as outside in the gigantic parking lot. And it's actually crazy. Most people don't know kind of what happened. Originally, it was supposed to be like the full 8 or 10 episodes, whatever. So I did my deal, got put through to the finals, and then needed to do another trick. So I drove up to Travis Pastrana's to use his foam pit, and that's when I started messing around with a single front flip for that. And then
Nonchalantly, I just
Start messing around with those.
No, Travis Pastrana, no problem.
The finals were supposed to be a couple days later, but then like the day or two before, got a call, and someone doing just like their training or something for this escape act, something went wrong. Oh no. And it's gnarly, and he's actually paralyzed now.
Wow.
So filming got completely put on hold.
That was part of the like extreme.
America's Got Talent.
Yeah. So his deal was what was it? There was cranes. Oh, that's what it was. Yeah. So 2 cranes holding 2 cars like way out to the side, and then he was in the middle, like right where the cars would hit.
I'm already just like,
that's
what the
crazy.
He's in his upside down in a straight jacket, supposed to escape
before they
and then fall to an airbag below. And he did. He got it, but somehow, like I saw the video, instead of just dropping, he like bounced up a little bit. And the cars had already released.
No.
And so he just, instead of just dropping straight, he bounced up just a few feet. And so, the cars both hit him. Oh, and the cars exploded when they hit too. And,
on top of it.
Because they got pyro in it. But so hit him, explode. He kind of gets snagged on a car, which flings him off. So insult to injury, he misses the airbag and falls like 50 feet to the ground. So
man,
we thought it was going to be worse, honestly. So he's pretty lucky he's still here. But so that happened.
Whoa.
And obviously got put on hold. But that was just big mind game, because we're trying to talk to the producers like, hey, like, is this still going to happen in like a few days, or are we talking like, is it done, or like next year? So basically it was like fly home. So went home, and then flew back down into California to practice front flip more, because they moved it to California and all this stuff. So it was interesting. They cut it down to like 3 episodes and really fast tracked it, I think, just to be done with it. But
it's like a juju, right?
It's they're like, I was supposed to be in the finals, and I get a call actually on my way down to practice the second time, and they're like, from producers, and because I kept asking, I'm like, listen, like, am I going forward? And they're like, oh, it's up to the super judges. I'm like, listen, I know it's not. Like, I know the deal. It's the best.
Super judges.
It's
super
the best.
judges.
I'm like, no, it's up to the super producer.
Right.
Like, so, and I'm like, I'm spending a lot of money going down here doing all this. And anyways, they had lawyers on the phone, and they're like, how dangerous is it? Like, all this stuff. And I'm like, my dirt bike put me in a wheelchair, and I'm attempting to do a similar trick. And then like after couple months of not hearing from them, all of a sudden the next day, the judges decided you didn't make it. And I'm like, sure.
Wow.
So,
so they bit off more than they could chew with that.
Just liability.
Yeah, that's what it was. Except the lawyers were on the phone. They were like,
exactly. So whatever. It's still a cool experience. Like,
No,
just,
for sure.
Yeah, getting to see all that and kind of how they do it and how it's done, and
Get to expose the sport even more so, though,
For
as
sure,
well. Nitro
yeah.
Circus.
and they won't be doing it again.
And there's a wrap
And
on
it's
that
a-
one.
Yeah, that was the one.
America's Got Talent, but I don't know. They don't got balls like that, man.
Yeah.
That
Get to meet
was-
Simon Cowell. How was that?
Oh,
Yeah. No, what's Cheeseburger Eddie? What's his name?
Terry Crews.
Terry Crews.
My man, I was just about to ask you about that.
Yeah.
How's that tricep in real life?
Insane. His
Boy, is big.
huge. Yeah. He was awesome though. Like, we were just kind of chilling over by our set, and Terry actually like came over to us and like introduced himself and was just like just a dude you could, just
He's
chill
high on
with.
my list of people to meet.
Yeah. He's a good dude.
yeah. What about Simon? If you had one word to describe Simon Cowell with that.
Simon, I mean, you gotta admire the guy. Like, he built all of that.
Right, he built that.
Yep. Yeah. It's 12-hour shifts from 12 noon to midnight. His helicopter would fly in, land on the field next to the set.
Yeah.
The two pilots would sit in lawn chairs with their cooler outside the helicopter for 12 hours.
Yeah.
And didn't matter if they were halfway through shooting something. Like, they knew that 12 hours he worked. So at midnight, he would get up, get on his bike, ride his bike over to the helicopter, and
he's done
take
now.
off back to his house.
Done with the business.
Just on 12, huh,
Work
Simon,
ethic.
huh?
Fair enough.
Okay.
Like, you set your boundaries, and
That's
like
it.
you like stick to them, like, because I am leaving, so you gotta
Yeah,
admire
the guy
it.
made the Spice Girls. Let's just be real. I'm pretty sure Simon Cowell invented the
I guess
Spice Girls.
that's UK. That
Same.
makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes
Checks out.
sense.
Just saying.
Yeah, I'm about to fact check that, but I believe it's believable.
I lie a lot, but I think it's true.
Yeah, it sounds pretty good.
Yeah,
No, I'm actually pretty sure.
Okay, we're gonna check
Get a
that.
fact
Serious.
checker in here somewhere.
Yeah.
So were your days then 12 hours too, or is it with just
No,
Simon's?
no, but they're like
Yeah.
lot of sitting around waiting, like
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
just in the green
Hurry up and
room,
wait.
Just
Right.
exactly.
Yeah, that's the motto.
Like, and then people getting switched around. Oh, you're actually going later, like,
Yeah.
which is brutal for like extreme sports
bet.
when you're like trying to
Get
psych
yourself
yourself
ready.
up, and it's
Getting
like
ready, yeah.
pause, which
Right.
was actually the same as X Games. Like, they were, because it was live, but we were going after some baseball game, and they went into like triple overtime or whatever they do in baseball,
yeah.
and we're like geared up on the
It's
floor,
like, hurry up already.
waiting, and like, it ended up going over like an hour and 15 minutes, and you're just sitting there, you're like cold and just like tired by that point, and
That adrenaline, huh?
it's huge. Well, it's so much is a mental game.
Yeah,
so
100%.
it's brutal when they do stuff like that, but that's showbiz.
That's actually when I was watching the Toronto show when you came back.
Yeah.
And you did.
That was way better.
Yeah, the one question I had when I was watching that, and I don't know, maybe that's just me being petty, but I'm like sitting there and I'm like, he's out here, he's warmed up, he's ready to go, and then they're all of a sudden like running the footage from the first time going on there, and you're chilling there waiting, you're like not looking up at the screen,
Yeah.
you're like, yo, I'm trying to stay. I'm sitting there like, why are you gonna do this guy like that? Like, he's about to do a trick. Like, you guys air this stuff out first, let him get in his space so he can execute.
They did ask me before.
Okay, I was like,
yeah.
did they ask you? 'Cause I was like, yo,
That would be crazy.
I was
Yeah.
like, that's
That'd be
crazy.
crazy.
I'm like, that's crazy,
Yeah.
man. How are you gonna do him like that? So okay,
Yeah.
you gave him the okay on that.
And I've seen the crash like so many times. I think in action sports, like, you're just so thankful when someone videos your crash.
Yeah.
Like, so like you can just like watch it frame by frame, break it
Really
down,
look-
kind
yeah.
of thing, see what went wrong. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's just kind of another crash, just a worse one.
Yeah, I hear you. But yeah, like you said, like that like moment when you're ready to go. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And I was just like putting myself in your shoes after
Yeah.
that, and I just was like, man, just want to do this right
Yeah,
now.
the
Just
first
wanna
couple were definitely weird, but
yeah.
once you kind of get into the flow on tour and you're like, this is just what happens, it's this many minutes, and like, so you can kind of amp yourself up accordingly. So
do- yeah.
Yo, I gotta ask. I mean, I can't imagine, but when you landed, the front flip as a paraplegic, and it's successfully for the first time,
backflip.
backflip. Sorry, pardon me.
That's the new one that we got coming up the front.
How did you feel? What was the feeling of that? Because there must be some kind of redemption or some kind of feeling
Yeah.
of just, like elation inside, obviously, because
First ever.
first ever, after trying to do something the first ever as well, and then, not being successful at it in your regards, and then being the first to do something successfully that extreme. How did that redemption feel?
Just overwhelming. Like if you watch that clip, I landed and then just like instantly took my hand off, and because I don't have any core muscles now, so like you see I'm like still on the landing ramp and I like take off to celebrate, and I start to fall forward. And I'm like, whoop, back on the bars. Like, let's come to a stop first. But yeah, it's just like, yeah, it's nuts. Like it's so much different coming from like a life-changing injury. And then, you know, again, it was the months in the foam pit and all that. And yeah, leading up to that moment. And then so much of you is thinking before that show, like, because you're always like, go, like forward. This is what I want to do. This is what I want to do. And then again, in the back of your mind, you have that like, ooh, like, is this the right choice? Like, what if I land on my head? What if I break my neck? Like, this would be it's either going to be the most epic moment ever, the biggest comeback, or if you don't, it's the worst thing that happens to you. And on top of that, you're the idiot for going back and trying it again. So it's like
a fine line between just pure bliss and just I'm psychotic.
But it's the same for so many things. I often think that, like, you see videos of someone out on the street drifting their car, and if they come like within a couple inches of like a car and you do this like crazy maneuver, like they're a legend,
of course.
But if they smash into that car, there's some idiot that doesn't know how to drive, blah blah.
100%.
So it's like,
risk and reward.
It's huge.
High risk, high reward.
And then if you don't make it, it's like, what if I wish I would have done this? Like, so there's
well, that made me emotional, that like that you landing that, because it's not me, but I know what it feels like to do something and not have it be what you want, and then coming back, you know, and just having everybody praise you for it in another field. I'll get into that some other time, but that feeling is special. It's
huge. I mean, and everyone loves a comeback story. Just
that's what
like
I'm saying. That's the
everyone likes
movie
watching
right
those
there.
Movies, and the cool thing, like the people that were, because how long was it after? I think it was almost 2 years after. So Hamilton, and then obviously Toronto's just down the road. So, so many people in the crowd were at the show that I broke my back.
Wow. Right.
And we didn't even announce that I was going to be there because we didn't know that tour. Actually, we didn't know which one was going to be the first one, which I would do it. And then obviously we decided that Toronto for multiple reasons, but it hadn't even thought that, like over half the arena was there that night.
That's
so
crazy, man.
They were pretty blown away.
You could see in the audience, like, people
it was
just,
incredible.
they were there.
Well, and then afterwards, like, it was just so many messages of like, I was there. Like, so.
What about your parent? What did your parents say after that?
So that's one thing that was tweaked a little bit in the documentary. They weren't at that one.
Okay.
I can imagine.
But
I
I mean,
saw your dad holding the kid. Like, I was like,
So
he's a trooper.
They were in Vancouver, which was shortly after. So the Toronto show was actually my dad's birthday, and like they're always just annoyed because I don't tell them when I'm doing stuff. Like, I don't know. I'm doing it anyway, so why stress them out for days to come? So
that's like a respectable thing to do.
Yeah,
for sure. You're gonna be stressed. I'm not gonna tell you about it.
Yeah. So I didn't. So I broke my back January 3rd. 9 months after that, I rode the bike for the first time, like the modified bike. It's got cage and stuff on it.
9 months after.
That's just ridiculous.
And then 1 month after that, so 10 months after injury, landed the first backflip to a mulch pile. And then, was that... I think that one was one of them was his birthday. Anyways, I didn't tell them. Told them I landed it. I think it was Toronto. So I called them up and did the show. They didn't know, like, they knew I was going to the show, but they didn't know I was riding in the show. Yeah. So landed it. It was my dad's birthday, and so called him up, and I was like, landed this.
Yeah.
Happy birthday.
Happy
birthday, Pops.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
That's I mean, you're a psycho, man. And I mean that respectfully.
Like a savage. Yeah, just a savage. You know what's crazy too? When I think about, obviously you've thought about this a million times. It was almost bigger for you not to land the original trick, just because the comeback's bigger.
Yeah,
so
we often talk about that.
Possible.
Like, who knows if I landed it? Like, it'd be sick to obviously get that world record, world first, but who knows? Like, maybe would have just kept touring, done that for like one tour,
Yeah.
and then just like carry on with your freestyle motocross career, whatever. So
Yeah.
it's definitely different.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
like they said, I mean, analogous to it, but you're not really a hustler until you hit the bottom and you bounce back. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? And I think to see that, there's no way that any single trick could bring that measure of a person. You know what I mean? It's only the entirety of it.
Yeah. Learn a
would
lot
bring
about
us-
yourself and
Yeah.
learn a lot about the people close to you, and it's a roller coaster, and
Hit that on the head, the people close to you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get back to that in a second. I was gonna say you said something that kind of sparked something in me there. You learn a lot about yourself.
Yeah.
And one of the things as I, continue to, go through and I've seen what you did and just really trying to put myself in your shoes. And I find it interesting to think, it's like, did this person, were they just so already assured of who they were that carried them through this journey? Like your sense of self, your sense of discipline. Was that what it was? Or was the journey what solidified to you who you were? And in hindsight, you realize this? Or is it somewhere in between?
Yeah, probably a little bit of both. Like it's just, again, coming from my dad and grandpa, like just the work ethic. So it's just like always just work hard enough and you'll achieve it. So you have that side of things. And like I've experienced the lows of like normal injuries and stuff, but obviously this is a lot more significant. So, but yeah, it was interesting. And, a lot of people take a different road when they have injuries. I know a couple people personally that have broken their back actually on dirt bikes too, and it's a lot different road, like just depression and stuff. And like I cannot judge, because that is so easy to do. Like it's huge change. So I think I owe a lot to my family, and not just my dad and grandpa either, like my
family,
everyone,
Friends, even though it's family,
100%.
the ones you choose.
Yeah. And because that would be a game changer. So yeah, just them there, knowing you've got the support. There's this one guy in hospital that can't remember, life-changing injury, whatever it was, and he had not a single family member or friend there, and he just didn't have them.
Wow.
And so he's at the hospital, and he was there for like over a year, and the whole time I was there, which was 3 months or something, not a single person showed up to even visit him. I'm like, how could you not be depressed after that? And he was positive still, and I'm like, yeah, it makes you feel pretty I don't know,
It's all perspective.
Yeah, exactly.
It's all perspective.
100%.
You think you have it bad, and then you see it's like, whoa. You learn to complain less, even in your situations.
And that's what I tell people. Like, and it's always hard because like you don't want to compare yourself to others, and like that's why you're feeling good. But like, yeah, you see the guy that's broken his neck and he's barely breathing through a tube, and that's how he's gonna have to get around for the rest of his life. And I'm like, he would give anything to be in my shoes and like only have a broken back. And like I would give anything to, I don't know, like be a amputee or something like that. And then like it keeps going on up until able-bodied people, and they would give anything to have that Ferrari. And the guy with the Ferrari, like it's crazy.
Which becomes more pathetic as far like
for sure,
but I
think that's probably like one of my biggest tips is like just remember that. And like I always think like a most relatable one is if you're sick, you're just like, oh my god, like I'm gonna be so happy when I'm not sick anymore. Right. And then you get sick and you're not so happy. Like you just continue on and you're bitching about some other little problem or that you have to work or whatever. But like put yourself back when you were sick or you had a broken arm or something bad and think how badly you wanted to be in this moment. Like it's and like you have to do it often too, because it's like every day, like 100%. Like it's really easy to go down the path of just bitching about the most stupid things, and like social media is a perfect example. Like you go on any one of these rant and rave pages on like these are insane. Like they're complaining that the plows haven't gone past their house and stuff. I'm like,
you got way too much time, man.
And like I can't help myself sometimes. I comment and I'm just like, you are blessed. Like if this is your biggest problem, so much so that you have to go and complain about it, like congratulations, your life is awesome.
So you're trolling people
all the time.
I like it.
That's what I'm talking about.
Let's go, Bruce Cook trolling people.
And getting getting trolled with being grateful. Like,
but not in a
that's
way
like
where
putting the
it's coming
spot.
out of like a place of hatred, which a lot of people. It's coming like, look, buddy, figure
that's
it out.
elevated trolling. Right
That's-
there. Yeah, elevated trolling, dog. Yeah, you're on that.
We're coining it.
Yeah,
Bruce
exactly.
Cook # elevated trolling.
Yeah. What you also did was that smile. What you
Smile
had,
for BC.
Smile for BC.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's what also impressed me was the way you harnessed social media.
Yeah.
Going through that, you were able to use the platform not only to bring yourself reasons to be grateful, but then to facilitate other people's gratitude and blessings, and to be in that state of mind while, like you said, it's so easy to go down the other way. Was that like something that just popped into your head? Was that like something that,
it was just kind of like, I mean, it's just so boring. Like hospital is just boring. You're sitting there, and like thankfully there's cell phones at that point. But yeah, it started as do something fun that makes you smile. # smile for BC, so that I can see it and kind of live and smile vicariously through you, whatever you're doing with your friends and family. And it kind of took off, and then it started kind of making people go out and do something fun, like just it's like kind of share it. So it kind of snowballed like that, and it was cool. And also goes both ways. Like I would see it and just kind of get motivated and inspired to just keep working hard, whatever, all that stuff. And so
in impacting people in a positive way,
That's what was so dope. I was like, yo, he's finding motivation to stay grateful, but then actually providing it to other people in the same move.
Yeah. And it's like, I do want people that
That's
like
how you do it.
A lot of people, it's funny, like especially with the disability community and stuff. We won't go down this path too far, but inspiration porn and like getting inspired just because someone's in a chair. And like, I often butt heads with people about this. It's like, because they're just like, oh, you're so inspiring for like getting out, going outside, going get your own groceries and stuff. And like, they're so offended by that. And I'm like, listen, if that's all it takes.
Wait, who's offended by that?
People with disabilities.
They're offended by that.
Just like, and like, I kind of get it. Like if someone comes up and you're like literally just getting groceries and they're like, good job, pal.
Right.
And
Thanks,
like
bud.
for what?
Okay.
Leaving the house?
Okay,
Like,
no, I just
it's-
wanted the clarity on that.
Yeah.
Okay.
But on the other hand, if that's all it takes for someone to get inspiration is just me existing, I'm like, sure. Like I've already had this life-changing accident. Like we might as well get as much out of this as possible. Like if me just going down the street to get milk inspires someone to be better in their life or like motivate them to change for the better, like great. And I want to hear about it because like that's just, not making the injury more worth it, but it sure helps.
Yeah,
Like,
but that's a cool way to look at it. Yeah. Sure.
Perspective's everything, right?
and it's I think a lot of people with disabilities get sick of like the, oh, you're so inspiring thing, and like I get it, but like why not? Like it's if it means you're
could be
affecting
worse.
people in a positive way, then why not?
Man, your attitude is so good. I need to adjust my own attitude.
Let's say smile about.
They got a lot of
something,
nicknames for me, and they're not good. And so I'm always complaining about
One
something.
thing I wanted to ask, will there be another paraplegic backflip, or is there other dirt bikers that have had injuries and have?
Kind of. I'm still the only one to land it, so.
But there's other ones out there riding and with the same kind of apparatus.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a guy on the East Coast. I think he's from like New York, New Jersey, or something, and races. And he is fast. Like it's nuts. Like he's in a normal class, like whooping able-bodied dudes.
Whoa.
And it's like, which is insane.
That's
because
crazy.
like
That's amazing.
in racing, like that's a big difference. Like you're.
And that's because of you. Because
Like I can't remember. I think he was even back on his bike before. So he was like one of the only guys that we kind of took some of the stuff he was doing, and put into the cage. But it's so specific to what you want too. But
absolutely.
there's since me, there's definitely been some people who have like asked for pictures of my bike to get theirs going again, and it's pretty cool. But there's a couple people that have like been doing stuff into the foam pit and stuff, and it's hard too because like myself, I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll go for this, but I'm just like, when someone else does it and like wants the designs and stuff, I'm like, oh, be careful. Like,
you gotta know what you're getting.
it's dangerous. Yeah.
Happy you're inspired, but be cautious.
Like 100%.
Yeah.
Well, when you're talking about, one thing I noticed when I've been watching, your YouTube channel and stuff you're doing, just like how into I mean, I call it like the big boy toys, right? But
Yeah.
you got some toys going
Yeah.
on. I was just, I don't know. I'm wondering, what's your current favorite toy you got going on? Like, what are you loving right now? Obviously, the big boy tires in the snow, but
Yeah, my Jeep's like just kind of my all round. It's always just like good to go. Gives me the least problems. But I got a snowcat last year, which is just like you see at your snow or your ski resort.
Yeah.
It's where you can just go anywhere and like just so stupid.
awesome. Yeah.
And then years ago, I got like a stretch excursion limo that I
Okay.
lifted and put on 40s. So that's,
This guy, let's shoot some
that's-
rap
Yeah,
videos.
about to say,
Let's go, man.
That's
Yeah,
kind of
we
on
got to holler at you in
the
another
opposite
time.
ends
Yeah.
of things. But yeah, 4-wheel drive and that's
Stretch excursion on 40.
That's
Yeah.
crazy. I've never heard of that. That's
Okay, what
cool.
color am I watching out for here?
it's white.
Okay,
Yeah, you'll notice.
white on white. As we're speaking on toys,
Excursions with
excursions,
With
and
lifts.
big boys, exactly. Curiosity, thoughts on the Cybertruck? Something you fuck with or not? Are you,
I don't really care. Like
I see that, yeah,
like
yeah.
It's, if someone likes it, then great. But it's not for me. I don't think. But electrical vehicles, in general, I don't think it's the right way.
Yeah,
but again, if it works for you and around town, sweet. But
yeah.
I do road trips and drive like
Yeah.
way too far. Like I'll just like straight shot to LA type thing. And that you're not going to do that in an electric car.
No.
But
No.
if you're running around doing groceries and stuff,
Yeah,
sweet. But
for sure.
I also think that, yeah, if everyone or even like 50% of people switch to electric vehicles, we'd be screwed overnight. So
100%.
there's, yeah.
I think it's funny how electric, but they use. I mean, it's coal power plants for the most part that give the electricity to the batteries to charge. So
Yeah.
and they use so much more. I'm not like a, physicist, I guess
Yeah.
would be the right term, but I know it's ridiculous. It's
Well, I don't have enough facts to
Me
be
neither.
like, this is better than this. So I'm just like, it's an opinion. If the electric vehicle works for you, my mom's
Yeah.
got one. It
Yeah.
works great for her because she just runs errands.
town or
The
whatever.
furthest she goes is Penticton and Vernon.
Yeah.
Charges it overnight. Spends next to nothing,
Sure.
and it works awesome.
No, that's
and it's
good.
like, so yeah,
What about your 92 Plymouth? How's that one
that's
rolling
sick.
still?
Yeah, my
You
spirit.
made it back from Vancouver?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
the spirit.
Oh,
yeah.
that's the spirit, yeah.
Yeah, that's honestly what I drive the most. That's
Yeah.
so funny. Like I got too many vehicles, and I drive $300
Got the
Spirit.
hoopy. Yeah, yeah.
how many vehicles you got?
Quite a few. I got the Spirit, my Jeep, Large Marge, which is a 04 Chevy on
Large
46s, the limo. I got my 6x6 Army truck. Got a Chevette. I got a donor truck for the Chevette because I want to put a V8 in the Chevette. My work 550. A couple others probably. Yeah, some.
That's crazy.
You got to be
You got a
prepared
few
for
of them.
whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
100%, right? I see you doing rescues on the road, too.
Yeah.
Huh? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we need you around here right now, huh?
Yeah,
Yeah, but you've been busy lately.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, people like to push it too far, and I'll go get them out.
Bless your heart.
It is always funny, like especially in lifted vehicle, like you show up and like you're the guy that's rescuing them. It's by the way, I'm not gonna get out because like I can't get around, so like you'll have to hook up the strap, whatever. But
Oh, yeah, exactly. Hey, I'm just lucky enough,
Shock
right?
factor.
Someone showed up, right?
Yep.
Where do you see the evolution of the sport? Nitro Circus, just anything motocross related in general in the next 10 years?
I don't know. Like it's tough. A lot of guys, like even 10 years ago, they're like, "Oh, it's dead," and like it hasn't been, and largely in part to guys like Travis Pastrana that have the means to make these new crazy ramps. Like some of those new ramps, like the Moon Booter, it's called, like they're massive.
Right.
Like you see
how
them.
big?
I think the last one they built for the triple flip is like 30 feet tall.
The triple.
And then
So,
that's
like-
30 feet tall, and then they're going another 30, 40 feet.
Oh, more.
Or-
Yeah, I think they were like 80 or 90, like off the ground. Like
My
it's, but like
stomach
you
just
see
broke.
it in front of it, and it looks vertical.
Yeah,
like it's
It's-
nuts, and like you can kind of get perspective when you see the little guy on his bike down there, and it's like you're kind of doing the math, but it's gnarly. And then these landing ramps, like they're $100,000 landing ramps to get them high and steep enough,
that's
that
insane.
you can even do it. So, but there's only so far you can go. But we're also saying that 20 years ago, like when the first backflips were being landed, it's like, well, before that, it was like, we're done. Like you can't backflip, and now they're landing triples in shows.
So the evolution is still there. It's still going.
It is,
It's more
but
technological. But were you saying how they design the ramps and the motorcycles? Is that what's
for sure? Yeah, and like more time spent in like physics and designing ramps and like where the flat spots are to get the rotations and stuff. But as far as touring, it's definitely slowing down. It's harder to fill arenas. In the early days. Is that
just marketing, or?
I think it's just social media, instant gratification. Because even like think of it, like growing up, if like the monster trucks came to town, you went to that,
of course,
because that's what was in town.
Good
Whereas
point.
Now you've got all these choices, especially in the States. Like you're in California, you can go to 10 different sports games every weekend, all this stuff, or you can sit there on your phone and watch the highlights, and
for free.
Exactly. And it's nuts. Like now you see a triple backflip on a dirt bike, you're like, you might like it, but you scroll past it. Like 20 years ago, that would have been on the news. It would have been like you would have had a tour based around that one thing, and like that's just dirt bikes. Like snowboarding too, you'd always wait for the next snowboarding video to come out, get amped. Like now, like it's kind of cool when someone releases a full edit or like a movie. You're like, oh, that's like unique. Like
no, that's a good point though.
Warren Miller ski movies that people would go
watch. You're just waiting for it to be stoked for the season.
Right.
And like Krusty Demons, like the DVD's coming out, like it's just every year you're like, when's it coming out? And like, so I think a lot of people just watch YouTube and clips on their phone and don't necessarily come out. And that's not to say like they just did a tour a few months ago that hit 20 stops or whatever, and like they did pretty good, but some of them were like breaking even for sure. It's
that's a crazy.
You can relate kind of like music industry.
I can
the full album versus just a stream or.
It's just videos, like instead of music videos, it's almost pointless. Like I do music, but the music videos, you spend $3, $4, $5 or more on a video or whatever, or it takes you 2 days to shoot, and you can do something that'll get 10,000 more views in 20 minutes if you just shoot it on your iPhone, and it's only 45 seconds because it's digestible so quickly, right? So, and then it's kind of devalues everything because now you're not going deep into caring about the art so much and 4-day shoot, all that. You're just whatever, shoot on the phone, right? So and it's just I think it's across the board in every platform or thing that you're doing. It's probably like that. But I wanted to ask one more thing since we were on that topic. How did your relationship with Travis Pastrana come about?
That was when I was learning to flip. So I did a tour in Mexico with Jolene Van Vute, which was kind of the first Nitro Circus girl, like first do a backflip on a dirt bike, blah, blah, blah. Travis's really good friend.
Right.
I toured with her brother in Mexico, and then it was just kind of like talking about it. Oh, that's my in kind of thing. He's got the foam pit. So I was like, hey, let me know if you're ever going down there, like with Jolene. And then he called me up and was like, hey, I'm heading down there like now, like we'll be there tomorrow. And I was like,
okay,
whoa, like, and they're from Ontario. So they just drove down to his house, and I'm like, can I come? So literally that night drove down to Seattle, caught the first plane in the morning, went over to his place and learned to backflip. And it was like, I was sleeping in like his pantry or something on a couch, and I like wake up and he's just there in the kitchen in the morning. You're like, hey, like I'm Bruce. And it wasn't like, what are you doing in my pantry? It's like, nice, I heard you're here to flip. Sweet. Yeah, place is yours. Like it's crazy. And like that, there's not a lot of people like that, especially when you get that level and have all these things. They're often very like, these are my things, but it's just like, here's a key to the house. Just progression. Like use my stuff to push the sport. So pretty cool.
That's cool.
Was it something that he saw possibly? I mean, it might be tough for you to comment on that, but maybe it's something that he saw in you or your attitude, what facilitated that attitude towards you. Like, what's mine is yours. Help yourself.
Yeah, it definitely helped. Like who I knew him through, like, when you're just kind of being suggested by good people, that kind of is a little bit of a step up, but just knew, I think he just saw early that I was dedicated and like wanted this badly enough. And that's right from early on, we talked about wanting to do something big, and that's how the double front flip came up. So I was actually going to try the triple back flip, but then there's a couple other guys doing that. So I took the double front roll.
So when I was thinking about that too, and it's like the double front, was it that you were so like, I can't, like, I'm not going to give up on this? Was it like, regardless, you were going to conquer this trick, or did you see this trick as like your ticket to the Nitro Circus, to where was it? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's probably mostly like something that I just got in my head, and like once it's in there, you're like, I gotta, and like there was like a time, like few weeks before that, there was a point where it's like, is this worth it? Should I pull the plug? But then you just know that afterwards it'd be, killing you, like with what ifs, like should have done it, like regret not. So, and regret's kind of dumb anyways, because there's nothing you can do about it. Like it's just regret's just an emotion, like it doesn't matter. So it's
hashtag regrets dumb.
Yeah, you did it. Like it's
just like,
it is kind of funny though when you break down regret. Like it's only to explain to someone what you're feeling about something happening. Like there's nothing you can do about it. You can't change it. So it's who really cares if you regret it or not? Like
it's kind of useless.
Exactly. I don't know. That's what keeps me up at night, thinking about dumb stuff like that.
Well, it's just interesting because, like you said, you had that moment, but it's like it was such a crossroads for your life to come. And it's like, it's almost like you knew it. You know what I mean? It's like, I have to do this. This is who I am. This is going to make me who I am. And obviously 2020 hindsight, right?
Yep.
But looking back, sure enough, right?
Yeah. And who knows, like, if I didn't do this, then I might have been like, sweet, didn't break my back, but you step out onto the street and get hit by a 100%. Bus. Like,
you wouldn't be you.
So,
if you live by what ifs, no one would leave their house ever, So.
Which is those are people who congratulate you for getting milk sometimes. You know what I mean? Like, 100%. Yeah.
Man, what a journey you've had. It is incredible to hear your story. And, I just want to give you another. I don't have any. I have so many questions, but we also time constricted and whatnot. So if you have anything else, or if you want to share something that maybe we didn't touch on, or
any news that you want to announce, or anything we should be watching for, or pump the podcast and the channel.
I mean, now I'm just focusing on YouTube stuff. Like for the last year, this is something major we didn't get into, but last 4 years I've been shooting a TV show. That is basically been following me. It's called By Hook or By Cook. And it started with, the first year was just taking people with disabilities on adventures that they otherwise wouldn't be able to do. So ocean kayaking, took a lady with MS ziplining and like hot air ballooning, quadding, like all this stuff. And it turned into a lot more the last 4 years.
4 seasons.
4
That's
seasons.
crazy.
Who are you doing this through?
It's a Canadian network, AMI. So they're the fourth season's actually not out yet, so it'll air in the spring. But they're all on AMI.ca. You can watch the first 3 seasons, and that's been pretty cool.
Crying again tonight, bro. I'm gonna go home and watch this little man.
The first season's definitely different. They're standalone episodes where it's like we take 8 different people on adventures. That was just pretty cool. Like,
I'm gonna, I gotta get into that. That's
seeing everyone else's story, and then season 2, it kind of started following my life, and then so each episode flows into the next one type thing. They're not standalone, but. The last season, started racing down in Baja, like did some adventures with some people down in Baja, and then that led into me doing the Baja 1000, which was just a couple months ago. So it's been a roller coaster.
So you're still traveling, still like this?
I leave on Friday to Costa Rica for another Nitro show, so that'll be my first one in 4.5 years.
Jeez.
So
that's amazing, man.
So your love for this has it just increased? Is it?
It's changed. Like this is the first one where I think like finally, because we've been filming for 4 years and it's a lot. I'm just like finally like at home, like wanting to focus on like the YouTube and kind of doing my thing, and then like I'm like, oh, I'm being pulled away from this to go do nitro, when like, you know, it used to be like you're on tour and you're like, oh, you come home and it's like, I want to go back on tour. So there's a change for sure, which is, it's nice, honestly. Like, I'm like, okay, maybe different cravings. Like doing the Baja 1000 was massive adrenaline rush for hours on end, but you've also got a cage around you and stuff. So it's like,
So what is the Baja
a
1000?
race in the
Sorry.
desert type stuff.
yeah,
it's
well, this year was 1,300 miles from La Paz to Ensenada in like trophy trucks, razors, like all types of things. So we were in trophy truck, and like the fastest you can finish it is like 26 hours or something like that. From it's the whole Baja off-road, like gnarliest conditions, and it was insane.
That's crazy.
You have someone crew with you, like in the truck, or do you?
Yeah, co-driver. Yeah. So, and then we filmed all that actually. So,
So it's like Fear and Loathing-esque.
Yeah,
Kind of that when they go to that kind of vibe, or
We're in bat country.
maybe minus the mescaline and all that stuff. But
it's a battle and a race at the same time. Like it's nuts. But
that's cool.
yeah, so we filmed that for a separate project. So we're not sure what that's going to turn into. So my girlfriend does all the editing and everything. Was behind the whole show, the whole series. So
Crazy.
Editing, producing, directing, everything. So like just insane amount of stuff. So she's probably at home right now working on the Baja 1000.
And you know how it is. He's racing, then they're at the hotel. She's probably editing and doing stuff too.
Oh, 100%.
Classic.
Yeah, even like shooting the show, like you finish and like we were talking about earlier, like you just have the footage, you go home and you're up until 2 a.m. because you just want to go through it, see, and like get it into a rough edit and like
shout out to DDG.
Yeah.
Shout out to our guy, man. Dill behind there, cooking it up. Did you see yourself going into like production after this? Because it sounds like you got a full blown, almost like TV and production career going on. And not just appearing on people's shows, but actually producing concepts and taking things. Was this a direction you wanted, or just fell?
No, it's just happened. Like I was just kind of headhunted for that, and like I fit the role of what they wanted to do, and so that's how that started. And like, it's been a challenge for sure, because it's going from like being very comfortable in front of cameras and stuff, but in interviews and on the news and type thing. But as soon as you're like hosting or trying to
different.
Tell me about it. I'm nerve wracked, man.
Like sharing emotion and stuff. Like, very different. But
But you enjoy it.
It's been cool. And then just like getting to share what I do with other people too. Like, when Lady hadn't driven since she got hurt, and so we outfitted a Jeep for her also, and like took her off-roading for her first time driving since her injury. So like not ocean kayaking and all this stuff, and often stuff that people would just tell them no because of liability. Like the one lady with I can't remember what she had, but regardless, cerebral palsy. It was just liability. And like from the business standpoint, like you get it, like they're taking this person out in the ocean kayaking, and like it's so much easier for them just to say no, because then there's no liability. But it's sad, that just means she'll never get to do that. So then it comes to us and make outriggers, whatever you need to do so that you can reduce the risk. But
that is really cool.
Genius.
And
man, you do legendary shit.
It was funny though, like a couple of times it came up, like everyone's so used to being bubble wrapped. One of the things that reoccurred, like, 'cause we like got this mountain bike thing, and the guy fell off and scraped his arm, and like we're just like, oh my gosh, like this is the worst. And we asked him at the very end what his favorite part was, and it was bleeding and like getting hurt again, because it's like so careful in the hospital, you can't be dropped, like that would be the worst day ever. And he's like, I haven't fallen in so many years and got like a scab. And he's like, thank you. And I'm like,
I can handle it. I'm not fragile.
Thank God. But like it's you're like, wow, it's you don't know what someone's gonna get out of something.
100%.
Like,
That'd be super rewarding.
Yeah. It's been a very rewarding 4 years.
I'm gonna
10
fucking
years,
motorcycle.
30 years,
He's got me. I'm a dirt bike one day, man.
slippery
You've inspired
slope.
me.
Be
I know.
careful.
I ain't doing no backflips.
Training wheels out.
You
for
can't.
You
can't.
Sometimes they can't.
Man, I'm inspired by you. I have to do more research on you, and watch all
keep
these
up.
things.
Yeah.
I gotta
Check
keep
that
up.
series
Yeah,
out.
yeah.
That's
You're
really cool.
inspiring. You really, really inspire me today. Like, actually, this is a great conversation, and that's using everybody's life and their experiences is just very fulfilling for me personally. So I'm just really blessed that you're here. Our first guest,
Yeah.
Great House Podcast, episode 1, Invisible, Sean, Ian.
Yeah. Yeah, I just want to say too, man, quickly, like you just said, you know, like even just meeting you outside off top and getting to shake your hand, you know what I mean? It was, you know, we don't always meet people that inspire us like this, you know what I mean? And if obviously you did, it wouldn't be so special. But I just want to say thank you personally because I can say in the last couple of weeks lead up, just even following you, that's definitely changed my life even. So
Cool.
you're a legend, man, and
Yeah.
you're savage.
Thank you.
We appreciate
Yeah.
you, you
I
know? Big
appreciate
time.
you having me.
Absolutely.
The ethos of this podcast is being created right now, and the ethos is, you know, inspirational people, and you're definitely fit the bill, man. So thank you for being here.
Yeah,
Appreciate
thank
that.
you, and I look forward to seeing the other people that you have. 'Cause, like that's well, like you said, you take little bits from everyone. You never know what little bit is gonna, you know, hit home or change. But I think
Absolutely.
if more people did that, just took little bits and pieces from everyone, then yeah, you'd
We'd be all right.
go a long ways.
Yeah, build
Awesome.
ourselves up, bro.
Yeah.
Hey.
Awesome, man.
Well, we're not going to hold you, man, but appreciate you coming through. And it was
thank
a
you very
pleasure.
much.
man.
Yeah.
Hey.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you,
Thank
Bruce.
you very much.
Thank you.
Legendary.
Oh.
Till next time.
Yeah. Well,
Peace.
Sweet.
thank you so much, man.
Yeah. Thank you.